Ghosts has been a subject of fascination for all of us for centuries. Keeping aside a debate of whether ghosts exist or not, watching a horror movie surely gives us goosebumps. And if you ask me personally of whether ghosts exist or not, and the people who are claiming that they have seen some ghostly creatures around, are they true or false? So I will say yes, they are definitely true. People who are claiming that they have seen some ghostly creatures, they are not lying to you. But in this video, I'm going to uncover what exactly the ghostly experiences are and what things they have actually seen. This video is going to be really different and really interesting, so be with me till the end. From all the experiences we have, we can say one thing for sure, that ghostly creatures love close and clumsy places. Now just imagine there is a big mansion, and inside that mansion there is one room which has not been opened for several years. Even though there is no human being inside, there are a lot of organisms living inside, and they are using a lot of oxygen, and the oxygen level of that room has drastically went down. There is a buildup of a lot of poisonous gases such as carbon monoxide and hydrogen sulfide. And just imagine we lock you in that room for several hours. What will happen? You will start inhaling a lot of carbon monoxide, and when you inhale carbon monoxide after a certain limit, you will start having carbon monoxide poisoning. And one of the interesting symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning is you will start hallucinating. And what is hallucination, you will ask? So hallucination is a state of mind when your brain starts showing you images which are not actually there, and you start listening to the things which are not actually being generated anywhere. So it's just a game of mind. So people who are claiming they have seen some ghostly creature in some closed room, we can say that yes, they are true, they have seen something, but it's not because those things really exist, but it's because they are hallucinating. Now we will learn something interesting about our senses. So we have hearing, vision, smell, touch and taste. And the work of our sensory organs is to provide information about our environment to the brain, and that information brain will use to keep us alive. Just imagine one of the sensory organs starts to malfunction, what will happen? It will be a really life and death situation. So in that case, other sensory organs will have to be hyperactive to fill the gap. Same thing happens in the darkness. Imagine it's dark all around, and our eyes provides 80% of the information about the environment to our brain. So our eyes would be useless in the darkness. So in such a scenario, our ears become hyperactive, our sense of touch become hyperactive, and we are not habitual to it. So any sound which we hear, we quickly link it to something paranormal. It's not something paranormal, but it's just that we are not habitual to listening to all the sounds with that crisp, clear details. Now let's go back to the Stone Age, where we don't have floodlights or electric torches. We just have a fire torch, and we are walking through our field, and at some distance we see something is moving. Now one thing to notice, that motion could be because of a cat or a lion. It could be anything. So if we just walk towards it to inspect what that thing really is, it could be fatal for us. To save us from such a situation, our brain has developed an innate fear towards the darkness. And when we are afraid of something, our rational thinking is turned off. So whenever we are in the darkness and we see some motion, naturally, because it's in our DNA, we get really afraid and we run away from that place. And since the rational thinking is turned off when we are afraid, it could be anything, and we can claim that anything as a ghost sighting. Another important phenomena that comes into picture is called as pareidolia effect. But what it is, let's learn with an example. You can see three images in front of you, and I am 100% sure that 80% of you would have found the familiar shapes and objects hidden in those images. So that's the habit of our brain. Our brain tends to find familiar shapes and faces in any random objects he looks at. It can be a cloud or a bark of a tree. But how is it linked to the ghost sighting? So there was one interesting experiment conducted by scientists in which they made a group of two people. First group claimed that all of them had a ghost sighting, and the second group claimed that they have never seen a ghost in their entire life. Then scientists created few images of statics and in few images scientists made sure that they hide some face or some object, and other static images were left untouched. The people who claimed that they have seen the ghosts, they were really good at finding the images hidden in the statics. And the funniest part is the group of people who claimed the ghost sighting also were able to find the familiar shapes in those statics in which no faces or objects were hidden. So you can say one thing for sure, that people who are really good at pareidolia effect can look at the environment around them and claim anything as a ghost sighting. There is one more common experience which people have. They say that they were sleeping peacefully and some scary animal was sitting on their chest when they woke up and they were not able to move their body. So this is a part called the sleep paralysis. Whenever our brain goes into the rapid eye movement sleep, that's the sleep when we get a lot of dreams. So when we get a lot of dreams and imagine we are running in that dream, there is a possibility that we will move our hands or feet as well. So to avoid that, our brain takes our body into paralysis. But when it's time to wake up, our brain first removes our body out of paralysis and then we regain our consciousness. But when this process is reversed, that is, we regain our consciousness before our body coming out of the paralysis, our brain starts showing us a lot of different sceneries and hallucinations, and that's the same thing which we call as sleep paralysis. So as you can see, all the ghost experiences which we have or people claim to have, they are just the imagination of our brain and nothing else. So if someone asks you whether ghosts exist or not, just say them, yes, they exist. But where?